everyone. I'll take a moment to let everyone trickle into the meeting. I know for a few school leaders, it's the last week or coming up to the last few weeks of school, so you've made it through a year. I'm just going to pause one more second to let people in. All right, welcome to our Montessori leadership webinar today. It's kind of a webinar, kind of a workshop format. Usually we'll just have a speaker, but I hope in this one, because we're providing some resources, we can have a little bit more of a workshop setting. You'll notice that when you come into the meeting, you're going to be muted. You're free to use the chat if you have any questions. But you can also unmute yourself and ask a question if you'd prefer to that way. And we'll also have time for questions and discussion at the end of this workshop. Today, I'm going to be talking about planning Montessori content. And what I mean by that is blog content, social media content, content that you post across your platforms so that parents can engage with your school, learn more about Montessori, and so you can get that exposure online. So we will be sharing a few resources throughout the presentation. If you'll notice right now in the chat, there is a PDF that you can download. The PDF is of this presentation, and it includes all of the links I'm going to refer to throughout the presentation. You're welcome to use that. I will be sharing some Google Docs and some Google Sheets with you. When you click on those links, you'll be brought to the Google Doc and Google Sheets that you can use. The version that I've shared, of course, is people will be unable to edit it. So in order for you to make edits, you'll have to download it as a Word document or as an Excel document, and then you'll be able to make edits and put your content into it. That'll make a little bit more sense once I get into it, but let's go ahead and get started. So I got excited about planning this workshop because I really do think that planning content is really important for schools. And I'll tell you why. There is a lot of value in updating your blog and social profiles. These are free platforms for schools. So if you have a website, which most of you, if not all of you, already do, and if you have social media platforms, it's free to post on there. So it's a great way for you to get seen, for you to interact with your community, and for you to educate and reach prospective families. So first off, publishing blogs regularly keeps your website updated and improves your SEO. SEO works in funny ways. It's always changing, but the one thing that we all know about SEO is that it loves new and information and constant updates. So if you're refreshing your website consistently and you're putting content that is relevant to Montessori, to your Montessori school, SEO is going to love that, especially when you add in pictures and videos to your blogs as well. It's just going to improve your search engine ranking. So it's really important to have consistently updated content on your website. Sharing images on your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter increases your online exposure and keeps families engaged. We do live in the age of social media, and there are lots of benefits to this. It can be a little bit of work to keep those platforms updated, but it's super important. You never know when a prospective parent might be searching through Montessori content on these social platforms, and they might stumble upon your school and then may want to learn more and may even schedule a tour. And for those current families, it keeps them updated about daily life at your school and events. Sharing educational posts and blogs helps to establish your school as a thought leader. And this is a really big one, because when parents learn about Montessori, whether it's philosophy, whether it's parenting, if they're learning about it from you, all of a sudden you become this authority on the subject to them, and it makes you look really good. Like you have everything together, you have the answers, and you offer that support to families. So this is an extreme benefit from utilizing your blog and social platforms. Also, the reason I think that planning your content is so important is that it saves you time throughout the year, and it makes sure that you're posting consistently. Now, from a digital marketing standpoint, people plan content months in advance sometimes before they're posting. This is because it saves time, and people need to plan content because things get busy in the day to day. You might have a day that you come in and your staff has a million questions for you. You have a parent issue or conflict, or a child's caused some issues at your school. So you never know. And then all of a sudden at the bottom of your to-do list is your blog and social media content. It's so much better if you have time, whether that's in the summer, whether that's maybe just one weekend out of the year, where you sit down and you just dedicate your time to creating social media content and blog content all kind of back to back and scheduling it throughout the year. It's going to save you so much time, energy, and stress in the long run while keeping your social media and your blog updated. All right, so let's start first with blogging. This is a huge topic to tackle, and I know that the idea of weekly or bi-weekly blogs is really stressful to a lot of schools because it seems like a lot of content and it can be overwhelming. But luckily, with the internet and with resources out there, it's actually totally doable and a lot easier if you just focus a little chunk of time at a little bit of your time all at once, rather than sporadically throughout the year when things are coming your way and you're having tours and you have to figure things out throughout the school year. So it's much easier to plan ahead. So what you need to know about blogging first, or blogging 101. Keeping an updated blog doesn't have to be hard. First off, you can recycle blogs. You don't have the same parents forever. They come and go. So maybe you can set a 3-year cycle where every 3 years you kind of bring up new, maybe it can even be quicker. Maybe it can be every year, every 2 years, you kind of bring them up, maybe tweak them or update the pictures to reflect any updates that you made in your school, and then you can recycle them. So you're not always going to be in this loop of having to write new blogs over and over and coming up with new ideas nonstop. I also want to say that one blog a week is great. One blog every other week is good. And one blog every few months is bad. And the reason why that's bad is because it just looks like it almost gives the impression that you don't have it together. Like they're very sporadically posted. If a parent goes on and they see that the last blog that you posted was 6 months ago, they think this school seems like they're under a lot of pressure and maybe didn't have time to post a blog. And they don't seem to be making, parent education or parent support priority. Whether when you have it, kind of more consistently, your parents can see that there's a pattern, they can expect a blog every week, every other week, or every month. It just looks a little bit more professional and it seems like a better resource for that parent. Blogs don't need to be long. A good 3 to 5 minute read is enough. In fact, it's better. I think that we can all relate to, seeing a big block of text and being really just intimidated and not wanting to read that. It's great to have quick reads, something that, gives value quickly and educates families about Montessori, but isn't, a whole chapter book. Like it needs to be pretty concise, pretty punchy. There's so much content out there nowadays. This brings me to my issue of formatting. Again, avoid those walls of text, use bullet points, headers, and always try to use pictures in your blog. There are lots of resources for free pictures as well. I didn't include them in this presentation, but there's websites like Pixels. There's a lot of free images out there. They may not exactly be extremely Montessori relevant, but they're good enough for a lot of blogs. So I highly recommend using those. Just make sure that the images that you use are free and don't have any copyrights, or you could be charged. So it's better to just make sure to use free pictures or pictures of your own. And definitely remember to have a photo release. Use approachable language. This is a big one because I think that when you're a Montessorian, you get sucked into the Montessori world, and we're using a lot of language that we're so used to hearing and we're so familiarized with. But a prospective parent may not know what practical life means. They may not know what the first plane or second plane of development mean. So it's important to just kind of look at a blog that you're writing with fresh eyes and make sure you're breaking down that language and using that approachable language. Another thing I want to say about blogging is create catchy titles. Some examples, 10 easy ways to introduce Montessori philosophy in your home, or what you really need to know about tantrums. this is, it's going to lead the parent in. It's clearly kind of summarizing what they're going to be learning in your blog. And also, these are the kinds of things that people search on Google. So it's gonna, again, help your SEO in the long run if you have a good title that's relevant and kind of answers a question. So think about it from that perspective. All right, we're gonna have a little blog brainstorming sesh. So how can you easily come up with 52 to 26 blogs a year? And I did that number based on one blog a week or one blog bi-weekly. Again, you can even do one blog a month. You can decide the number that works best for you. So here, if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you'll be able to access our 100 blog idea list, which we've put together 100 different blog ideas that you can use for your blog. So if you're, if that's where you're struggling to come up with topics, feel free to use those. And then anyone in this webinar right now, they'll be able to access our blog planner. So that is a spreadsheet where you can kind of punch in all the blogs that you want to plan throughout the year. I'm going to go ahead and open this. So it's basically, just a classic spreadsheet. I did a 52 blog version here and a 62 version here. So those of you who only want to do a bi-weekly blog, pretty much it just works where you can go ahead and punch in what date you would like each blog to be posted. You can punch in the blog title, those catchy titles. Of course, if you have access to the list of 100 blogs, you can use those. We have our category here, so you can categorize them. So you make sure that you're not being maybe too repetitive or doing back to back to back only primary. You can kind of spread out the topics a little bit more. Here you can link the content. I really like using Google Docs for this because multiple people can edit the same document. So maybe if you're asking a guide to write an article for you, or maybe even a parent volunteer, they can link it here and you can add in pictures. And then when it comes time to post, you can copy and paste that onto your website. Once that blog is published, you can link it here. And then you can put the status of the blog. So not started, in progress, completed, or published. It just helps you keep track. Then you also have kind of a spreadsheet archive of your blog. So if you want to recycle them, it's easy to reference them in the future. So you guys are free to use this. Again, this is a non-editable editable spreadsheet. Otherwise, it would be chaos if everyone tried to edit the same sheet. So if you want to make edits, you can just file and you can either make a copy or you can download it as a Microsoft Excel, and you can use this. Hopefully it will help. All right. So yeah, and feel free, if you have any blog ideas, you can feel free to share them in the chat as well. Any blogs that have been successful at your school. But hopefully those 100 blog ideas are helpful for those of you who get stumped or get writer's block. All right, with formatting as well, we've created a few templates because I think some people, who are new to blogging or may not have, or maybe are just used to writing those forbidden walls of text. We've created 3 popular blog template styles. So you can click these as well. These are Google Docs. Same thing goes, where you can make a copy of it or you can download it as a Microsoft document. So the first version is a checklist. Parents love these and these make great blogs. A great example would be, your back to school checklist, what you need, or, a Montessori playroom checklist, things like that. That's really easy. It immediately creates value for parents. It's quick. It's not intimidating for parents to read, and it can be helpful to you to educate parents on certain things. So you can use our checklist template here. Also, when it comes to blogs like steps or, 5 steps to, transitioning into a Montessori classroom or things like that, those make great blog formats as well. So we have also included a template for that. Again, these blogs are catchy and they're easy for parents to remember as well, because they're broken down and they're easy to consume, which is important when you're creating content nowadays. And then finally, the philosophy, because ultimately the goal of your Montessori blog is really to educate parents. It's a great parent education tool. If a parent asks a question about why do you do this in a Montessori classroom and you have a great blog written about it, it's going to help them learn. So I've also included the template for that. So whether you want to talk about practical life, whether you want to talk about what Montessori means when they say, this is the first plane of development, and this is why we categorize it as the first plane. These also all make great blogs. So highly recommend using our templates if you need that extra guidance. Also, if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you have access to our Montessori Answered one-pagers. We have quite a few of these now. I want to say at least more than 10 or 15. So that right off the bat, you've got these, all of this content that you can easily reformat into blogs. It's linked here as well. So if you download that PDF, you can link to our collection. With a bit of reformatting, and when I say a bit of reformatting, I mean minimal, because we really tried to break these down as well. So really just maybe add a few pictures and maybe add any additional context to make it more relevant to your particular school. You can use these as blogs. They address, all of the more frequently asked questions in the Montessori community, such as, what is grace and courtesy? Why is that third year so important in Montessori? And you are free to use this content if you're a Montessori Thrive member. I see here in the chat. Laura, have you been able to, click? I don't seem to be able to click on the checklist and stuff. Should I be able to, I hope that you're able to use them in the chat. I think Camille
sorry, I can click on the things that she posted in the chat, but like the last slide that you were on when there was like the chat, those three things at the bottom, I can't click on anything through the slide. So I don't know if you're going to supply those links for like the checklist and stuff at the end, but you can't click on them through the slide.
Okay, well, what I'll do in that case is when I post this recording, I'll just post all of the links that we shared throughout the presentation as well. And thank you, Camille. Hopefully the ones in the chat are working then. Thank you. All right.
The other ones from that slide in the chat as well. So you can click on those.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, like I said, if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you will have access to all of these Montessori one-pagers. If you're a Needle Marketing subscriber as well, a content subscriber, all of this is kind of done for you and provided. So we have a great content writer on our team. She's an incredible Montessorian, and she creates weekly blogs for our content subscribers. So if you are a Needle Marketing member and you're subscribed to our content services and you're not using them, you definitely should take advantage of that because the content is really great. It's really easy. We have a 3-step process. We basically provide the content. We do that a month in advance. So, you'll receive an email letting you know that the content is ready for you to review. You review the content and then let us know if that's good enough to post, and then we'll automatically post it on your website for you. So if you have access to this, I highly recommend using it. I know we have a few Needle Marketing members who don't take advantage of this. I cannot stress enough how great the quality of the blogs are. I know Camille from experience. She had great success with, I think it was a math related blog on her school website. So we know that it works for SEO. We know that they're really helpful and they're great for educating families as well. So highly recommend that.
Yeah, Camilla, if I can just interrupt for 1 minute, we actually have a new writer now who has just joined us. Our Christy, who was our writer before, is going off to do some other things. And our new writer, Megan, is on the call here today. So I just wanted to take a minute to introduce her. And I'm thrilled that she's joining our team. And she is, I'm kind of going from memory here, but she is AMI trained from infant and then complete primary, elementary, and is completing her adolescent training this summer, and is currently the education director, right, at Montessori School of the Berkshire. So Megan, I don't know if you want to say a few words, and maybe a little bit next week, we're going to try to meet with our content clients with Megan so that she can hear firsthand some what you want to see in the content moving forward. So Megan, I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really delighted to be part of the team. My school has been a member for a number of years now, and we have just been so appreciative, and I look forward to hearing what members need and want to see more of next week on the town hall. So thank you so much for that introduction.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, we can move on.
We have a question here from Sawyer that they want to know, how do schools give credits in Montessori Thrive or Needle Marketing for this content?
You don't have to. That's the beautiful thing about the content. You can use it as if it were your own. And that goes for our blogs, our social posts, we have a photo library as well. We obviously just ask that you don't use it for any purposes other than just to, as you would your own blog to promote your school. But yeah, no, you can use it as your own.
Yeah, and same goes for all the content on Montessori Thrive. If you choose to download our one-pagers, you don't have to give credit. You can just post it on your school. Happy to share.
Yeah.
All right. So next, I'm going to talk about social media content. The good news is social media content is a little bit easier to plan. It's easier to produce. It's less lengthy. Obviously, it's less informative. It's just more to keep engagement up in your community and get that extra exposure. So we know that posting on social media isn't your priority. I don't think that's a priority for any school. You have so many other things on your list. I think when it comes to digital marketing, the number one thing that we always tell schools is first your website, then maybe Google ads or digital paid ads. Then maybe towards that bottom of the list, even in a digital marketing world, is social media. But it is important to have that extra presence because it's free and it's a great way to educate parents and to keep in touch with your community. So we highly recommend having a social media presence. So I'm going to talk about where that value is from a marketing perspective. So first of all, it's a great way for parents to find you. Parents are searching for Montessori more than you think. There's so many Montessori influencers out there. There's so many Montessori accounts, but I don't think anything is quite as credible as a school. When it comes from a school, it just seems more legitimate. It seems that information is reliable. And wouldn't you prefer that information about Montessori coming from you and trained guides rather than a parent that, may not have any training who just decided to have an interest in Montessori? So it's important to raise awareness as well. So it's important to have that social media presence. It's free. Again, like I said many times, it's completely free to own an Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's a great place to post your school blogs and your school news. And blogs especially are great because you can bring people to your website. So when you're sharing your school blogs, you're linking that. And so you're bringing those families to your website, which is ultimately where you want to bring them, because that's where they're going to be able to learn about your programs, where they're going to be able to schedule a tour and ultimately enroll at your school. So it's a big bonus. It also allows you to engage with your community and share beautiful images from your school. Again, I want to stress that you definitely need to have a photo release if you're sharing photos of children in any form on a digital platform. But for those parents who do agree with having pictures of their children taken and posted, they get really excited when they see their child on that school page. They want to interact. They might even want to reshare that. So it's just a great way to engage. And also it's a great place to update families about school news. So we know that there's parents who never read the newsletters, who never read the emails, and not every parent's going to look on social media, but again, it's just covering more ground, which doesn't hurt. And it's another space that you can use to educate parents on Montessori. Like I said, it's better if it comes from, a school that, has incredible guides who have experience with Montessori every day, who've learned about it properly. And that's where parents are learning about Montessori rather than the thousands of Montessori influencers that now exist. They're learning it from you. So, All right, I just want to break down a few social media yeses and a few social media nos, just because I feel like I see it every now and then, and I just want to make a point that if you are going to be using social media, that you use it well. So definitely, like I said, have that photo release. For those of you who are Montessori Thrive members, we have a photo release that you can download and you can use so that parents can find at the beginning of the school year or as part of their enrollment process. I think that most schools have this updated every year because there's parents who change their mind, or it's good to have that signed on every year. Post clear, high quality images. Nowadays, the good news is that iPhones take great images. Just make sure they're not blurry, or they're, you don't use a crazy filter on them, anything like that. We're lucky enough to work in Montessori where our environments are beautiful and it's not hard to get a good picture. So that's the good news. Use hashtags. The reason why is this helps categorize your posts and it helps parents find you. So by using hashtags, you're kind of informing Instagram, per se, the platform, what your photo is about, what it's relevant to. So using hashtags like Montessori, hashtag your school, things like that is going to help parents who are interested in that find your post more easily. I also recommend using location posts. You don't have to put your school address necessarily, but you can put your city and state. So we all know that we're trying to target parents who live locally. So that's also important and relevant. Use your school logo as your profile picture and link to your website and your bio. You should always do this. Your bio should be your school name. If you have an accreditation, put that on your bio and what ages you serve, and then directly to your school website. That's the goal of your platform, is to bring people to your website. I also see every now and then some schools, they may have a picture of their building as their profile picture. I highly recommend getting a high quality logo instead. It just seems a little bit more professional, and it's best practice in social media. And post regularly, but not too much. You don't have to post every day. That's a lot of work. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Just make sure you're posting consistently, and every time there's any school news or updates, go ahead and post that. Also, what I like to say is, and this is something that we used to do back when I used to work for a PR firm. So planning content consistently is always look up what days of the year you want to post something about. So for instance, from a school, you definitely want to post like, Black History Month, Martin Luther King Day, Earth Day, Maria Montessori's birthday. All of those are great opportunities for you to create easy content and talk about issues or days that are special to your school as a whole. So that makes the planning a little bit easier. Social media knows. So don't post blurry images. Definitely don't post without permission. You don't want a parent causing any issues, and you don't want to share pictures of children you don't have permission to post. Constantly forget to post. Nothing looks worse than when all of a sudden in school, it's looking great. They have some good content, and then you see that their last post was a year ago. It almost makes parents wonder, has something happened to that school? Are they still open? Like, have they forgotten about this platform completely? So definitely, don't forget to post if you're going to have a social media platform. If you don't have the capacity to run a social media platform yet, just hold off on it. But definitely post consistently if you can. Don't post content without captions. Give some context, give some information to parents. You don't just want to post a picture out there and have no context. And don't have an obscure profile picture again. And I think that even sometimes having your school building is a little bit obscure because they may not have seen that building before. They may not associate it to anything. A logo resonates more.
Camilla, you missed one there. Ignore comments.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
That's really important.
I literally ignored that. Yes, don't ignore comments, because parents, sometimes they might ask a question. They might want to interact. They might say, wow, this is great. Always like and say, we're glad you think so, or you might want to answer the question. Also, check your direct messages on social media. This is important because you may have parents inquire on direct message, and it's good to click on the direct message profile because oftentimes they don't show up as alerts if they don't follow you or if you don't follow them. So it's important to check that because you may have message requests via Instagram or Facebook. So yeah, definitely check that. Don't ignore that. So what social media platforms should you focus on and when planning ahead? I know a couple weeks back, we had kind of a little workshop on social media platforms. We talked about TikTok. If you have the capacity for that, then great. But I think that's a bit intimidating. I think these three are great to start with. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And the great news about Facebook and Instagram is they're basically the same because they're owned by the same company. So you can post on both of them at the same time. So it's almost like you really have to run one social platform, really. All right, so what you really need for each post, we really don't recommend, especially on Facebook, because on Instagram, you have to post a picture. Always post with a picture or video asset. Otherwise, I can almost guarantee that your content or your post isn't going to get noticed by parents. They're scrolling. There's so much content nowadays. If there's not a captivating image or video, it's going to get lost in the crowd. Your caption is important as well. You want to have a certain tone. You want to provide information that is helpful to parents. And again, you want to use language that is approachable. For Twitter, you will have a character limit. I'm sure most of you already know this if you have Twitter accounts. So you have to be a little bit strategic with how you caption your Twitter posts. But as for Facebook or Instagram, you can give a little mini insight into what practical life is like or what event you did in school that day. And again, hashtags. I gave a couple of examples of some hashtags that you can use. I do recommend using a hashtag for your school. Usually that can just be your school name, but putting that under all of your posts is good. All right, so I think we'll have to post this link as well in the chat as our PDF isn't working. But you can also check out our social content planner. This is, again, similar to our blog content planner. It's great to have a sit down, go through your photo library. You should have a photo library for your school and just see how you can create a few posts a week. And if you do that ahead of time, come every Wednesday. You can copy and paste. You have all of this content ready to go. You don't have to think about it on the spot. You can even use automations. I'll talk about that in a sec. But it's just easier, again, to plan content in advance. I see a question here from Pooja. I'm from Amy Cosmic Education. I'm Montessori primary and elementary trained, started my own Montessori environment 8 months ago, and this meeting is informative, interesting. Oh, thank you, Pooja. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope that these resources are helpful to you and your school. So yeah, please feel free to use our social content calendar. Every digital marketer who works in social media uses a content calendar. They rarely post things on the spot unless it's like a news platform. Pretty much almost all content is planned in advance. All right, so what you need to know about each platform, because each platform is a little bit unique. Twitter, it's great for school updates and reposting blogs. You don't have to post on this very often. Just maybe when you have a school event like a fundraiser coming up, or if you want to reshare your blog. Facebook, great for more extensive and informative posts. Let's say you just had a fundraiser. You can share a bunch of pictures of your fundraiser. You can talk about how great it went. You can thank all the parents who were included. It's great for those more extensive posts. And it is much easier to interact with people on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is similar to Facebook with less emphasis on the captions. It's more about pictures and videos. So if you have a great video, if you have a great picture, post it on Instagram. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit as well about Google My Business. This has been around for a few years now, but I think it's largely underutilized by a lot of businesses as well as schools, just because I think we underestimate how many parents find us through Google. I mean, nowadays, no one's looking through the yellow pages anymore. They're doing Google searches when they're looking for schools. You can actually post directly on your Google My Business. It's free to do. Most of you, I imagine, already have Google My Business for your school, so parents can look at the hours of operation, your location, and your website, as well as reviews. Well, it's similar to social media. You can also post. The formatting is similar to Facebook, if I could compare it to any of the social platforms, and that you can post a long caption with a link to your website and a picture. It's great to post if you started a new program at your school. Let's say you launched a toddler program and you want to update people on it. It's great. If you publish a new blog, again, it's great to share it on this profile as well, because parents who are looking through your Google My Business to look up at your hours, things like that, they might be interested in that. Are you preparing a fundraiser? Maybe you have a fundraising page that you want to draw people to. You can share all of this directly on your Google business account for visitors to see. Benefits of this, again, you're more searchable. You will expand your reach. There's keyword searches. Probably the biggest benefit is impact on ranking. Again, this is a Google feature, so obviously it's going to play a role in your SEO. Google loves updated content, and that's going to help you with SEO. And this is a free way to help your SEO without having to run Google ads. So it can make a little bit of a difference. And it allows you to connect with customers directly and get those backlinks. All of these things play into exposure, they play into SEO. So it's important to just update if possible. All right, from a digital marketing perspective, again, we love anything that will increase your SEO. This is really important. I know that this is rarely is it a school's main priority, but it is important because that's how you get people through the door. That's how you get people to come in for tours. So posting on things like this, it's a free way for you to boost your SEO. It doesn't cost any money. It's just a matter of you going in and updating it. Again, Google posts have been proven to increase those map rankings. So it's a proven way to get further up on that search. Now, if you're a marketing member, again, if you have our website service or our CRM service, you have access to our automatic posting. So we do set that up for you. If this is just something that you don't want to handle, you'd rather have someone else come in and manage all of the posting for you. We do that through our Montessori CRM. So it's all automated for you if you don't want to go in there and do it manually. Of course, doing things manually is always an option. It just takes a little more time. If you want to learn more about it, definitely go to our Nido Marketing website and look at our content subscription and look at our Montessori CRM as well. This is all a way that you can do it automatically. Just imagine if you sit down for maybe a few days in the summer and you focus on all your content for the entire academic year, it's done. And every year after that, it gets easier because you can start recycling blogs. You can start recycling posts and just using different images, and you can use the same captions because parents aren't going to go that far down. So it's really that first year that's going to be the hardest year to plan, and it'll get easier every single year. Check the chat if we have any questions. All right, looks good. And yeah, Camila's sharing all those links. So if you want to use their resources, you are welcome to. Again, we also have done for you social posting. So if you don't want to come up with social media content, if that's just too stressful for you, we also have that available. So if you subscribe to our content services, not only will you get a weekly blog, you also get access to consistent social media posts that are relevant to the blog. So again, it's just kind of an all-in-one package. So if you subscribe to our content, you don't have to worry about any of this. All you have to do is approve the content before we post it for you. And I highly recommend looking at that. It's great. All right, yeah, and how it works. Again, it's the same as our blogs every month, 1 month in advance. We will make sure that you have time to review that content, you approve it, and we'll post it for you using the Montessori CRM automatically on your website, on your social media platforms, and on your Google My Business as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, sorry, Camilla, if anybody is interested in a sample of what a month's worth of content looks like from us, just drop in the chat or send me an email. It's Camille@nidomarketing.com. I'd be happy to send that to you, so you can sort of get a month's sample to see what it looks like.
Yeah, that's great. That way you can see the kind of content you can expect. I'm actually really proud of the content that Nido Marketing puts out. I know a lot of the schools that we work with are really happy with the content they receive. All right. We do have additional resources on Thrive as well. So if you're a Nido Marketing member, you automatically have a subscription to Thrive. If you're just a Thrive member, you have access to this as well. You don't have to work alone. We have a forum and plenty of resources for you. We have courses on how to use social media, courses on how to help with marketing, as well as several blog content ideas and content ready for you. We also have a forum. It's a private forum where only Montessori leaders can see what's being talked about and discussed. So if you have a question about running a blog, we recommend asking in our forum, because again, that is a very private and focused space. No parent is going to see it. No teacher is going to see it. It's just for Montessori administrators and leaders. So highly recommend utilizing Montessori Thrive. And again, if you are a Thrive member and you don't see a resource in our collection that you need, you can always request that that resource be either sourced or created. So highly recommend using our online collection. Also follow us on social media for updates on our resources. Every time we post a new resource to the collection, we share it on social media. Every time we have a new Montessori leadership or marketing blog, we share that. And we are on Instagram. We have a Facebook group, which is Montessori Thrive. We also have a Facebook page called Nido Marketing. And our Twitter is Thrive_Nido, where we just post any updates about our town halls. Again, these are weekly and they're always free. So recommend that. And then, yeah, next week, our town hall will focus on, will be more useful for our content subscribers. So if you do choose to go into that content, or you already are a content subscriber, please join us to have kind of a content brainstorming session and a one-on-one with our content writer. All right, any questions or discussion? I'd love to hear. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. I'd love to hear your ideas, perspectives on planning content. Do you think any of you guys will plan content over the summer? I know that I think everyone needs time to rest in the summer and recharge, but it only takes a few days. You'll be surprised how quickly you can write, 26 blogs that are, if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you basically have 15 of them already written for you if you use our Montessori answered one-pagers.
Right. Yeah, and I think the thing too, just like there's a rhythm to the school year, there can be like kind of an annual rhythm to your blogs too. So what I think the point that Camilla made very well is that, it seems probably a little daunting to plan out a whole year of blogs, but even if you're only posting one a month, so that's 12 blogs, and then thinking about like, okay, the following year, just kind of tweak them a little bit and you can run them again. And so it seems, I know, daunting to think about, oh gosh, a whole year of social content and everything. But the idea is you write the blog and then you repurpose that content. You send it out to your email list, not the blog itself, but like a paragraph that we actually provide with our content too. But just like, hey, we just published this great article about the importance of the kindergarten year, go read it on our website, because the idea is you want to keep people coming back to your website so that they stay interested in your school, maybe schedule a tour, that kind of thing. And then absolutely send it out through all your social channels and Google My Business too, so that we all know as administrators that no matter how many newsletters you provide or whatever, that parents will come in and say, I didn't know about that or whatever. So you really have to get them everywhere you can. And so email, social channels, on your website. But again, you could even take just a dozen blog articles and just kind of publish it one week, send it to your email list the following week, publish it on your social, channels the following week, and then, take a week off, and then the next month is the next one. So it repurposing content is like the marketing mantra because you really want to get the most out of the work that you do. So hopefully that helps not make it feel like it's approachable. Of course, we would love for you to use our content, because I think having that fresh blog every week is really, really valuable. And you just, they're so well written, and you don't need to, you can kind of just let us be your writer, and take advantage of that.
Definitely. And like Camille said, there is a natural rhythm that comes throughout the year. So maybe if you're sitting down this June or July and you want to focus on getting 12 blogs out of the way in one weekend, you think about, December is the holiday season, maybe I can write about developmentally appropriate gifts to give your child. That's a great blog that kind of writes itself and it's appropriate for that month. So yeah, when you sit down with like a clear mind, you don't have the stresses of, the beginning of the school year, or when parents come in for observation and all this other stuff happening, it gives you the chance to crank out that content all at once. And then there's no better feeling. And I can say this because I do this when I plan my content a week in advance. You sit down, you think about it, you have a great content plan together, and then throughout the week, all you have to do is copy and paste. You copy and, you automatically post it onto your Instagram. You don't have to, it takes you 1 second and you're done. So no matter how hectic of a day you have, you can post quality content for your community. And it's not that, it doesn't take you an extra hour, 2 hours sitting down at home after you've had a really long day. So cannot stress how helpful planning that content in advance can be.
Yeah, and also all the social media channels have the ability to schedule content out. So if you plan it out, you can just schedule it to go. So even that part of it, it's not like you have to revisit it every week and say, okay, what am I posting this week? It's, maybe once a month you take that half an hour, if it's even that, and just kind of schedule out your social posts for the month, and just say, at 9 o'clock every morning or whatever, 8:30, 8 o'clock, when parents are sitting in the carpool line, that's a good time to post maybe, and just schedule them out for the month. It's easy. It's like Camilla said, if you plan it out, put your mind to it a little bit, then it, like anything else, it becomes very helpful. So I see quite a few of you have given me your email addresses and for the sample content, and I will make sure that I send those off to you so you can get an idea of what it's like. It is, I think it's from January of 2020, our sample pack that I have. So anyway, just to give you a heads up that it does, there might be some seasonal aspects. I think one of them might be, I don't know, I'll have to look at it again, but anyway, I see those all there, and I will be happy to send you those samples so you can see what it's like.
And also I see this question every now and then as well, with our content. If you have, when you subscribe to our content, you can use the images from our photo library, but they can also be replaced with images from your school if you prefer to have, pictures of your classrooms instead. So that's very easily done. That's part of you reviewing the content before we post it. You can just include what pictures you want instead, and we'll post it with your pictures rather than the ones that we provide. Now, if you're a smaller school and you don't yet have professional photographs taken, it's really nice to have those high quality Montessori focused pictures that you can use as well. So either or.
Yeah. And actually that goes for the content itself too. I mean, we provide these blogs as a service and a starting point, and you certainly can post them as is. But if you wanted to go in and, a paragraph just didn't resonate with you, or just wanted to tweak it, feel free to do that. I mean, they're yours. It's a starting point. They're yours to use as you see fit. So even if we post it for you, so if you subscribe to our content and then we provide the service of posting it for you. We ask you to upload again, even though obviously you got it from us, upload again so that we know we're posting the version of it that you want to have posted. And we're not just posting the same on everybody's website. A lot of times at the end of a blog, it might have something like, if you're interested in observing in our classroom, feel free to schedule a tour. And then, it would really make sense to schedule a tour to your schedule a tour page. So things like that, where they do, the blogs need to have a little, personalization, obviously, for each school. And that's easy to do, and we're happy to post it for you.
I'm also going to mention, because I see this question every now and then I've seen it before at our previous town halls. Some people ask, well, what if we share links to other Montessori blogs? And I say to that, yeah, that's great. I think it's good, for instance, what if the Times comes out with an article about the benefits of Montessori? You definitely want to share that. That's a very reputable source. But if you're sharing, blogs from Montessori blogs, the thing that you're failing to do is bringing people to your website, which is ultimately you want to be the thought leader. You want them to look through your program information and schedule a tour at your website. So there is a lot more value in publishing your own blogs rather than just, reposting blogs from someone else. So highly recommend doing that.
And there's really value to both in a way, because we also provide a daily Facebook post, and it really only works for Facebook because they are often links off to other blogs or articles on the web, or whatever they are. But what that serves is it keeps your school's name in parents' Facebook feed. And it also, it kind of establishes you as the source of the source, so they're seeing, whatever, Nido Montessori School, and then, your commentary about this article, and then a parent can go off and read that article. So, your own blog article is the most valuable, and that's what's really going to help the most. But having those links in it's Facebook or Google My Business will work for this, or Twitter. It's really only Instagram that needs a photo. It doesn't work well for Instagram, but any of those other platforms, it's great. And it's really pretty easy to do. It's just finding, an article on the web that you want to share with your families. And by keeping, like I said, keeping your school's name in their social feeds just keeps your school kind of a little more top of mind. So that's what that does. So.
For those of you who are Montessori Thrive members as well, to save you the sleuthing through the internet, we do have a whole archive of, so I'm going to put the link here. So if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you should be able to click on that. And it basically takes you to every website resource, media coverage online, relevant to Montessori. So if you want to post that on your social media feeds, feel free to look through our archives. All of these are relevant articles, media coverage on Montessori. So if you need a couple of filler posts that, remind people of Montessori, the benefits of Montessori, feel free to use our archive. It's very helpful. All right, any other questions, comments? Is this daunting? Planning content is stressful a little bit, but it'll save you stress in the long run. All right, well, if you think of any questions later, please, feel free to ask us via email or in our Facebook group or forum. I hope that you all have a great, final week or final few weeks, depending on when your school year ends, and a great summer. Hopefully it'll give you all time to recharge. And hope to see you next week. If you are a subscriber to our content, I'll be back with Megan and to hear firsthand. We want to produce the articles that you want, that you need, that you just like, oh, I really wish I had. For example, we had somebody ask for, I really need something about, like, parents always ask, what's the difference between Montessori and daycare, and so
we made a blog article about that. So I know way back when, gosh, I don't even want to say how long ago it was. I asked the writer to write an article of math through the levels. And that's the one that Camilla mentioned that we posted that on our website. And it is, if you Google now Montessori math, I think it still comes up as one of the top search results. The school was Hollis Montessori. So you'd be surprised. But anyway, we want to write what you want us, what you really want. So next week's your opportunity. We're just going to have a conversation about that. So I hope you can make it. It'd be great.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Becky.